Hey everybody, it's Dale Jr. back again for another episode of the Dale Jr. Download. It's Dirty Air on a Tuesday. We're going to talk about Martinsville and the Earnhardt Easter Gathering. That's right, we keep on gathering for Easter. And also William Byron, the winner of the race, is going to call in. It's going to be a great show. Let's get to it. The following is a production of Dirty Mo Media. All right, man, here in the Bojangles Studio. Another episode of the Dale Jr. Download, and now through May 5th, you can get your hands on 2 free bird dogs by using promo code Dale Jr. when you place an order on Bojangles.com or in the app at participating stores. That's the code DALEJR for 2 free bird dogs with your online or Bojangles app order. Get them while they're hot. Bird dogs! I don't know if I have been dreading this or looking forward to it. I'm here with Dalton and Andrew and Alex back there in the studio, and we are one day into a week of, just a lot of complaining, a lot of complaining going on. The teardown. Jeff Gluck had his rant. He wakes up the next morning, comes on Twitter and apologizes, feels bad that he might have went a little too strong in the paint. And I had a reply to that, thinking that, I've done that so many times on this show. Come in here, you're all pissed off. Even after you get a day to think about it on Monday. You still come in here and you're all pissed off. And you guys, y'all work me up. Y'all get me all spun around.
It's our job.
And you come out, you leave the room, and you're like, damn it. Because sometimes, we're talking about the race this past weekend at Martinsville and how frustrating it was, and this current state of short track racing. If you've been on social media or listening to any of the journalism and media coming out of this, around the sport in the last 24 to 36 hours, it's been pretty hard. And I was really pissed off yesterday. And hesitant about coming in here and piling on today. And anyways, let's get into the show. So
I can sense the frustration.
Yeah, it's and this is real, man. I mean, this is the way everybody feels this week. It sucks for NASCAR because there's a lot of great things going on in the sport, man.
Yeah.
But that's also a frustrating thing. We're going to go to 1.5 miles and everything's going to be great. Sun will be shining, 70 degrees outside. You got a long runway before we go back to a short track where then we'll be probably disappointed again.
Yeah.
So anyhow, before we get into all of that, just wanted to tell you a couple things been going on in my life, everybody. We'll catch up on what's going on in each other's lives.
Nothing good seems to be going on.
All right, so quickly.
Yeah.
All right, we had Amy on last week talking a little bit about our camping. Getting ready to use that camper again. We just announced this week that I'm going to go run the late model race at Jacksonville, North Carolina for the Cars Tour. Practice on Friday, race on Saturday. I don't run in the Cars Tour much. It's tough. It's competitive. I'm anticipating going down there and getting kicked in the gut a little bit, but it's going to be fun. I'm going to have a good time. I've never raced there, so that should be a lot of fun. But I'm looking forward to that. Earnhardt's got together at the Western Town on my property Sunday. I love that, man. Hey, I know Easter was a week ago, but we've got this new commitment in our family to get together, to be together. We do it on the best possible afternoon where everybody can do it. This happened, if it's a week after the holiday, it's a week after the holiday. We're still going to get together. Appreciate that commitment. My sister Kelly, a lot of the females in the family are responsible for that motivation and gathering efforts. But that was a lot of fun being together. The kids, we hit Easter eggs and the kids did all the things, hayride, all that stuff. Easter Bunny shows up. So that was good stuff. Also, one of our guests on the show this year, I think it was this year, Cody Rhodes. No, it was last year.
Last year.
At the end of last year. Cody Rhodes won the World Championship belt on WrestleMania. I don't know, man. I felt like that. We've had him in the studio. We all got to sit down and listen to this dude. He's freaking super normal, super cool, very humble.
Yep.
I watched the press conference after WrestleMania. I haven't watched wrestling in years. I've been in and out, right? I've talked about it. I had these, in the 80s, I was heavily committed. Saturday morning, right after cartoons, Dusty Rhodes, Magnum TA, Ric Flair, the Four Horsemen, all that. Then I disappeared for a while, didn't care about it anymore. Stone Cold comes in, bam, I'm back in. Stone Cold, but this dude's awesome. This guy looks like somebody that lives in town here, right? He looks like a normal dude. I can get back in The Rock and all that started happening. That was a great little run, and I was in hardcore. And then when Stone Cold phased out, I phased out, and so I come back to it, checking it out every now and then, and it looks a little different these days. The outfits and all that stuff, I don't see. We've talked about it on the show. I've talked about it. I don't see somebody that looks like a normal person on there, right? They're all wearing outfits, wild characters. Yes, very much. It's different. It's more cinema. And there's this storyline. It's like a year long, right? There's things that they say in the promos that are very, like, The Rock comes out last night on Raw and hands something to Cody. We don't know what he handed it to him. We're all guessing, right? Everybody's on social media going, what did he hand to him? It's a cinema. We'll find out what it was like 8 months from now, right? It's all they've written the script for the next year, right? If everything goes to plan, nobody's injured, this is what's going to happen, right? That's kind of it's different today than it was back then. It feels different, right? Mm-hmm. And people will say, I saw it on social media, why do you watch? What makes it enjoyable if you know that it's scripted? And so now I think what I like about it, I can't speak for everybody that's in that arena at WrestleMania, but what I'm enjoying about it, why I watched, I know it's scripted. I know they all know going into the match what the outcome is. But I also know Cody's story, his real story, right? As the son of Dusty Rhodes, working his way into the business, then sort of being miscast, right, in his first run with the WWE, having to leave, go create his own image, make that undeniable for the WWE. They bring him back in, and he does so much. He self-created this persona that he has to the point that they made the push for him to win the world championship. Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And so that's why I watched to see if they would actually let him win it. Was it going to be, were they going to let him win this? Or were they going to continue this sort of narrative that the Rhodes are always going to almost get there, right? Like his dad and him were always, because that's the sell. If you look back over time, right, Roman Reigns has had the championship for 3 years, and Ric Flair had it forever. They were all heels. The sell really is that the heel's always the champion, and the hero is almost always chasing and almost getting there. And that's what keeps us watching, is like, will he win it tonight? Oh, maybe tomorrow. Will he win it tonight? Oh, maybe tomorrow. Well, they finally let the hero win. How did they, and there's been times when the babyface or the good guys been the champion. It's rare though. I'm curious as to see how they've written this script, right? What plays out?
I admittedly don't watch it, but something you said there was pretty interesting. Like, while it is scripted, Cody Rhodes can take this as a personal accomplishment.
Yes.
Right? Because of how he's carried himself, how he's,
It's just like, it's just like when you enter into any business or any sort of role, and you excel, right? And you go up the ladder and you're doing all these things that are getting you promotions and creating this, creating a reputation as a hard worker, a good guy that's a go-getter. You're going to be given new opportunities. And he did that for himself outside of the WWE, so much so that they thought, damn, we were wrong. We miscast you the first time, the first run. What you're doing now is amazing. We want that. Come on in here. Not only do we want that as part of our show where there's, dozens and dozens of characters, right? You're gonna win the ultimate prize.
Be the face.
Yes.
Yeah.
So pretty impressive, man. Anyways, I said all that to answer the question of why do I watch, or why did I watch? Why did I tune back in?
Back in.
Right? Because I kind of, if you listen to our show with Cody, you might also kind of get plugged in to watching it, right? Yeah. Anyways, when do you think William's crawling in? Do you know?
He's calling in,
45.
I would say, about 15 minutes from now.
Okay, all right. We also have another driver calling in, Sammy Smith.
He's not calling in.
He's coming in.
Walking
okay.
in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Sammy Smith's coming in here with some news that I'm really excited about. So we got that going on as well. All right. Did y'all see, I'm sure you did, Morgan Wallen threw the chair off the top of the Chiefs. So
that's my guy's bar.
Right.
He owes Eric a new chair.
Eric Church opens up a new bar
that weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
on Broadway.
On Broadway in Nashville, and Morgan goes and gets wild and ends up throwing a chair. I wonder if Eric Church was like calling him up and like,
what
hey,
the hell?
Hey man, that's not helping.
Yeah.
Right. And it happened at like 10:30.
I didn't know it happened then. I know it happened on Sunday night though.
I'm gonna tell you, man. I would throw parties back in the day, right? And you always had like that guy or that friend that was always gonna probably maybe do like the party stopper thing at some point in the night,
right?
And you just hope that it was like 1, 2 in the morning, not at 10:30,
right?
He's gonna punch your buddy from high school or hit on somebody's girl and it's gonna be party's over, big fight.
That's it.
They can't be doing stuff at 10:30.
No,
you can't.
You can't be throwing chairs. Period.
Yeah,
I think.
No, off a 6-story building.
TJ was like, "Man, we used to go to the boxing ring. That was a party stopper because we'd raise hell and go to the boxing ring. That was where we were gonna end up because you're hanging out partying and it's like, well, who can beat up who? I think you can beat up this guy. Bull crap.
That's how every party should
But I
end
told
up.
TJ, I was like, that was always 2, 3 in the morning, never at 10:30. It is organized, yeah.
On a Sunday night too. 10:30 on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
Like
part of me is like, dang dude, come on, get together. But then the other part of me is like, all the if you look back, like it, name some of the iconic country singers of the past, they were all kind of wild and crazy. Yeah. We just didn't hear about it.
I think that Morgan is kind of
think about this, think about all the rock bands that trashed hotel rooms.
Gosh, Motley Crue,
right?
Yeah,
over and over and over and over and over and over and over. Everybody was just just like it glamorized them even more.
Right. Yeah, I think Morgan's kind of the bad boy of country right now, and he's playing that role.
Yeah, that's
for sure.
My only thing is like
that's a little bit. I mean, they made it sound like
somebody.
Yeah. I know they made it sound like the chair literally fell into the street right next to people. Right?
Oh, it did. I think it did.
It really did.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I know it was
like right next to 2 cops.
Near some cops, right?
Yeah.
But like, was it 50 feet away?
That I don't know.
Was it like a couple feet away? You just doesn't make any different, but it's just
yeah. He's got to sell a Silverado for bail.
He let the liquor talk.
Gosh.
He's got to leave them Broadway chairs alone.
Last
Sunday night he let the liquor talk a little bit.
Last night, yeah, exactly.
Jeff Gluck's rant. We talked about that top
I
of the
listened
show.
to it live.
I did. Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah.
I went back and listened to it. You guys put a clip out. If Jeff Gluck felt bad about going a little hard on NASCAR and short track racing. Good job on Dirty Mo Media for cutting a clip and putting it out for everybody to see.
So this is so funny. So I went downstairs to the social room. I'm like, did you guys see Jeff Gluck? He tweeted. He's like, he felt bad about it, and Colby's like, I just cut that clip.
I know it. I think that's what he
quoted.
Yeah. He quoted it on Twitter, the clip that you made. I wonder if Jeff if that's a new experience for Gluck. They've been doing the teardown forever, but would they then cut clips and put it on social media? And would it be out of his control what clip would be cut? I mean, not that he can't come in here and say, hey, man, take the clip down.
Right.
But I wonder if, since joining with us, now that we're chopping clips and sending out sound bites, he's like, oh, wow, I didn't know it was going to get this. I didn't know it was going to get put on the front page, right?
Right. I
didn't know it was going to get pushed out and promoted so much. I'm curious, Jeff. But anyways, I feel like a lot of looking at the comments in social media about Jeff's rant. I think he was speaking for I think he was saying a lot of things everybody agrees with. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that he got unprofessional at any point. That's what's different between, I think, me and Jeff. Jeff can get in there, get frustrated, and say, man, I got to get this off my chest. To his point, it's right after the race, and he fired in there, and he got to it and said what he needed to say, but he didn't get personal, right? And he didn't talk in circles. Me, I get mad, get personal. I'll talk in circles. I'll say something, just like Kenny Wallace, I'll say something and take 8 minutes when it only needs about 2.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah, and
that was hilarious.
He sped up the video 2 times. He's like, people say I talk too long, and he's like going like double speed.
I missed
this. Is hilarious.
It was so funny.
So Kenny Wallace, one of our great friends, also a great content creator, he's on a run, dude. He's doing some fun stuff on social media and YouTube, and he goes on social media and does a lot on X. He tweets a ton, and so he said something about the argument on social media between Denny and Marcus Smith.
Oh yeah,
he made this 8-minute video about it, and somebody commented, right? The first comment was like, you took 8 minutes to do something that you could have said in 2. And I knew immediately that he was going to do something about that. And so he made a 8-minute video and sped it up so fast that it would play in 2 minutes.
That's funny.
Talking at the speed of light. It was so funny.
And it's so damn funny.
He's like, I finally figured it out.
I finally figured out how to make fast.
Exactly. Yeah.
And he said this video, and he says stuff that nobody else is willing to say.
No.
He says something like to the tune of, this is for you. He says, this is for you guys who make love to your wife in 2 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought, what in the hell who says that? And then he goes on to describe how he and his wife.
Good for him. Good for you, Denny.
Yeah. Oh, and he is a mess. He is a mess. Oh man. But I'm thankful that that's something that can make us laugh on this Tuesday after the last several hours of frustration.
You mentioned it. What's your 2-minute take on Denny and Marcus?
Unfortunate between them both. I mean, I went on Twitter and said they both need to have some app limits.
Yeah.
I've been using app limits.
That would have been avoided with app
30
limits.
minutes on my social media apps. That's now I damn ignore the hell out of them. I do.
You hit the 15 more minutes button.
No. I hit the ignore for
today.
the rest of the day.
What's the point?
But it's like, hey, I think it's good.
So you know how long you've been on there?
Yeah, because I'm hitting this app limit sometimes later in the day, and I'm like, hey, good job, self. You haven't really been on social media much today. Good job. Pat yourself on the back. And then I'll hit it at 9 o'clock in the morning and be like, all right, dude.
Yeah.
All right, now you got to get control of this. Getting a little out of hand early in the day. I already hit the limit. So that's what the limit's doing. They need the app limit. It was midnight when this was going on.
Yeah.
It could have been avoided unless they both hit
I will
15 more
promise
minutes.
you, not a lot of great things will be tweeted after midnight.
It's the 9 to 9 rule. Nothing
Is that right?
before 9 a.m.,
9 to
nothing
9?
after 9 p.m.
Okay.
Yep.
Shoo. It was just, listen, this is the thing. Marcus, that was way out of character. And he was jabbing at Denny for not having a championship.
Mm.
Just out of character. I would rather that not have happened, right? Denny.
Yeah.
So Denny, this is Denny. This is who Denny is. Unapologetic. When you go at him, he's going to get personal.
That's what he said in the Netflix show. He was like, I don't give a crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Denny, listen, I can be friends with Denny, but I know that he has that flaw, right? He has that ability to do something or say something that just makes you want to
Exactly.
and he can be hurtful, and he can be mean. You know what I mean? And unnecessarily, like, if you, like, I guess for a racing reference, if you put a donut on his car, he's going to give you 2 back, right? It's not eye for an eye. He's going to go harder and unnecessary. And so the interesting thing, not the fun thing, I was going to say funny. The interesting thing about it is listening to everybody talk about how it's a deeper conversation than just the paving job going awry, right? There is this personal, and Denny talked about that. Denny talked about it on his show and admitted that this goes way back because they had this conversation. They went to lunch like a year or 2 ago. Mm-hmm. Denny, and him have tried to sit down and come to some mutual respect, I suppose, for each other's position as they're battling through this charter agreement. And it was interesting to me. What I thought initially was just 2 guys being unnecessary.
There's history.
Mm-hmm. And there's deep, mistrust and frustration with each other. Denny sees Marcus as the face of the track, the face of the track owner who's arguing for their portion of the TV money. And Marcus sees Denny as someone who's not educated, even as an owner, on how all of the entities in this sport work together. And so, Denny thinks he knows everything he needs to know to feel confident about his argument. He knows, hey, I'm spending X, and I'm telling you I'm spending this. I know how much this costs me. I'm giving you my books. Here's everything. This is why we need help. Here's the answer. And the tracks are never going to do that. They're never going to open their books up. To Denny's, Denny's saying, well, it's because they make millions and millions of dollars. Well, yes. No company that's making that kind of money is going to make their information available.
Yeah.
Because then that information can then find its way outside of this conversation that he's having with Denny, right? That ain't good. No company, outside of these race teams is in the practice of sharing what their bottom dollar is and how their X's and O's line up, right? Financially, nobody's doing it. To expect Marcus to come be transparent with his books, no, that's not a realistic expectation. And so, but it was unfortunate. It did nothing for the sport. It really it made us all kind of look a little weird, but I wished it hadn't happened.
I think it shows that times are kind of tense with these negotiations, though. I mean, right? Like,
yeah, times are tense.
Still seems like we can't find that common ground.
It's kind of one of those things, though, man. It don't affect me. I don't give I really don't have a dog in the fight. It don't affect me. whatever they end up agreeing on is what they agree on. It doesn't change the way I watch a race.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't change how much I'm spending at the grocery store. I mean, it don't affect me. So honestly, I don't care. The one thing I do care about is that NASCAR is healthy financially, and NASCAR is successful. I want the tracks to be successful, and I want the teams to be successful.
Yeah.
But I mean, I really could care less about the nickel and the numbers and what percentage ends up where, and I don't really even know who I would argue for. I mean, look, I want the charters. This is my own personal opinion and position because I wanted to be a car owner, and now I see that as an impossible situation. Like, imagine that your dream was to be involved in racing your entire life in some way, right? And we're doing that as Xfinity owners because we can, right? If it was a $10 million charter buy to get into the Xfinity Series, I wouldn't be in it. If I had to buy a charter to race in the Truck or Xfinity Series, I'd be out. I'm not doing that. And so I grew up in a NASCAR where if you wanted to build a race car and go cup racing, you built one and you raced. And that's not the reality anymore. You got to have a charter. You got to spend millions of dollars just to be able to enter the contest, right? And so I guess, for, the 66 car, Carl Long and those guys, they came and showed up and raced this weekend, but is that realistic to be an open team and come compete and financially be able to at least break even? If I could race in the Cup Series and break even, that'd be great. I love we break even here. If we make a little money, we make a little money, but it ain't about, like, I don't care about being financially successful in NASCAR. I just want to race. I just want to be in it. I just love it. It's what I do. It's what we've done forever. But to now be an owner in the Cup Series feels like it's only for a certain club, right?
Right.
I'm not in that club. The money and the expense and the cost to be able to get those charters, that is out of my range, boys. And so to do it now, I'd need big partners, people that want to come in and financially back the actual investment. And now I'm part of something, not it ain't like,
it's not yours.
It ain't DEI. It ain't Roush. It ain't Hendrick, right? So do you want to do that or no, right? I don't know. We're getting in the weeds. I told you I wasn't going to do that today. But hey,
that was about 8 minutes, so we'll speed that all up.
Yeah, we'll cut some of that out.
Speed it into 2 minutes.
I talked in circles. All right, so let's bring William Byron in, this week's winner at Martinsville. Looking forward to talking to him. Around all the frustration of the actual race itself, there was a great story, and that was Hendrick winning at Martinsville on the 40th anniversary of the first win for the organization. So let's bring William in here. Hey, William, it's Junior. What are you doing, bud?
Hey, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. Where are you at? You at work?
I'm at the shop.
Yeah, I see the building in the background. Look familiar.
Yeah. Yep. Back here behind the gate. But
what's happening?
Yeah, just doing some of our Texas prep.
Okay, so you're going in for Texas prep. Is that what happens today? Comp meeting? Was comp meeting yesterday?
Yeah, comp meetings are yesterday. So basically what we've been doing is just we meet for about an hour about the next track on Tuesday, my team, and then some weeks we go to the simulator, which this week we're going to the simulator after that, and then other weeks we just we don't go to sim, but we just talk a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on this past weekend, man. You had an awesome race car. I think.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, what does that feel like to go back there and run that well, having had the experience you did at the end of last year, man? I mean, I don't think I've ever seen your ass kicked like that the way it was at the end of that Martinsville race, trying to stay alive in the playoffs, and you got out of the car. Literally your race at the end of the last year at Martinsville came down to the last handful of laps in the last few positions, and you just were gassed, right? And y'all weren't fast. The car was a struggle. So to go back there and be that great, man, I mean, how in the hell does that happen?
Yeah, man, I think that fall race was just a little bit of a nightmare in real time. It's just from how hot it was, basically as soon as we took the green, like how hot I was inside the car, and then how bad the car was handling. Obviously all that stuff, doesn't help. And then, just realizing that, man, I got a lot of work to do to get in shape, and then just different things. But our car this time around was, so good. Like you can tell, you've driven, like you can tell in the first 10, 15 laps whether you have a really good car. And so I felt like as soon as we took off in the race, I'm like, man, this thing, it's doing everything I want it to do. I can get under people, exit off the corner and get beside them. And that was tough to do with this package, obviously, as we saw. So it just, it was just cool to be able to pass people that early in the race and know that we had something to work with.
Yeah, it was awesome to see, man. Not many people were able to pass. And I've thought about this for the past 24 hours. There's been a lot of conversation around the short track package, a lot of complaining, rightfully so. But there is a hell of a story that happened Sunday, and that is Hendrick Motorsports going back to Martinsville on the anniversary of the very first win 40 years ago. And not only did Rick Hendrick and Hendrick Motorsports get the win, but literally nearly dominated the race. I know Bowman finished a couple spots back, but all of you were in the top 10 all day long. It's really impressive when when there's something unique and special on the line. Isn't it interesting how we find a way to gain a little more or be a little bit better than normal? You see it in the championship race when the 4 title contenders go and race at Phoenix at the end of the year. They all run great, right? It's almost a given.
Yeah.
It sort of felt the same way yesterday. Like Hendrick wasn't going to be denied. All the cars were the best cars in the field.
Yeah, it's, it bums me out sometimes. People think it's like a conspiracy, and it's just, to your point, it is that it's every little effort, it's every detail that people put in that is a little bit above and beyond what you would normally do. And when you stack hundreds and thousands of those things into the effort that weekend, that's the result. So I feel like as a driver, my only piece of that puzzle is like when I got to the racetrack on Saturday, like I knew I had prepared as well as I could. I knew I had slept as well as I could. And then when I got in the race car, I wanted to make sure that I was, doing every little thing right. So, we do that every week, but to your point, like that only happens a few times a year, like in the championship race, if you're fortunate enough to be in it, the Daytona 500, there's certain ones that you're like, man, I want to make sure I put my best effort, into this. And that's how it felt like when we got out there. That's why qualifying, I was so pissed off. I got to the media center and like, I didn't want to talk because I'm like, I feel like we just screwed up our whole weekend. It's so hard to pass. And so I think getting through that hurdle as a team and being able to go out there on Sunday and have a great car was great. But you just put a little more emphasis in it.
Man, I'm telling you another thing. I want to ask you one more question before we let you go. There's a lot of conversation going around about how you have won more races than any other driver in the NextGen era. I think that obviously it says a lot about how you've adapted to this car and how you are training and preparing and putting. You're sort of like the best example of how to adapt to this new car. I also think it says a lot about you as your driving career. You are sort of shaping into you're a star now, but you've got this real potential to have some career longevity and win multiple races a year for a very long time, which would then put you into this category like Junior Johnson, Denny Hamlin, and all the guys that are 50 and more. in wins. I see you going that way. We've talked about that. And I see you changing as a man. I see you maturing, getting more confident to share your opinion, to speak out about, just being more animated, I guess, in how your career's going or how your day went or whatever, right? You're just a bit more confident to speak. And I just got to ask you, man, how you got to feel great about where you are professionally, and personally in your life, and how sustainable is this? You've been racing for a very short period of time, to be honest with you. A lot of these guys start really, really young.
Yeah.
But, you got to feel pretty good about your position, and you're kind of nearly at the top, right? You're on the cusp of winning that championship, and that's got to feel pretty good. You got to be able to see it right there at the tip of your fingers.
I do. I mean, I think it's just I appreciate that. I think the next gen era kind of coincided with me just starting to get comfortable in my racing career, and not, for the longest time I felt like an outsider because I started so different than everyone else. And in a lot of ways that was true. I was really green in my racecraft, and just some of my understanding was really fresh and green. And so my confidence has come from just being around and being able to kind of grow into the sport. And I feel like what I have going for me that is maybe a little different is, like, I'm not burned out. And I wouldn't say, I don't know if anyone is, but I know that I still have such a passion and interest for racing, and it's just continuing to grow. And so I love what I do. And I feel like that's going to continue. And as long as that continues, I feel like I can have success, because I know when I get up in the morning, I love what I do. And, and my life is really balanced right now. I think I've had more balance in my life, and that's allowing me to kind of enjoy the time away from the track a little more and not be so anxious and uptight, because when I got in the Cup Series, I could barely handle the anxiety and the nerves that came with trying to compete, because I just didn't feel good enough. And so I think that confidence has kind of grown, and I'm still getting out of my shell. It's still hard for me to talk publicly, because, like, I am a bit I just feel a bit uncomfortable with it all. Like, it's all kind of a dream. So it's I'm getting more comfortable. I love doing it, and I just want to keep working with my team and try to, like, that's what I want to go to the racetrack to do, is try to win more races.
Yeah, I think you hit it perfectly there. We can see you getting more comfortable, and seeing you trust trust the media, and trust the fans, and sharing your personal life and your likes and dislikes and all those things. So we're thankful for that, man, and it's fun to watch. Keep doing what you're doing, man. You're kicking ass. We appreciate you giving us some time today. We know you're busy, and I hope it's a great week for you, and good luck this weekend.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it.
All right,
Y'all have a good one.
Yes, sir. Pretty cool, man, to see him be so honest there at that last question.
Mm-hmm.
How he was so a bit uncomfortable when he came in. That's what I've been seeing. I really couldn't articulate it as good as he did. He came. He seemed. Yeah, he was young. He was green. He was raw. He was shy, and which was perfectly fine. And we love William. He's a great dude. We've known him for a long time, right? As he's raced here for Junior Motorsports, but in the last, I guess, year, he's turning into a man, right? He's filling out, right? And he's personality wise and so forth. He's starting to sort of claim a little property. He's claiming a little bit of the, his place in the sport. And, I mean, you can't deny it when you look at the stats and see how many wins he has compared to everybody else in the next-gen car. You can't deny it when you learn about his preparation and effort and how much he really has no distractions. There's a lot of racers like that, and credit to them. He focuses on racing, and he has other hobbies that are not very consuming, right? And so that, when he needs to pick up that thought about racing or get back into that prep mode on any given day of the week, he's ready. And he talked about not being burned out, finding that balance. That's so smart. That is so damn smart, man, because you can easily get burned out with the schedule that these drivers have, the teams have, and the day-to-day stuff during the week. It's 10 times more than I ever had to do, and hell, I had to be worried about getting burned out.
How would you manage that? Because I'm sure there were moments where it's just like, God, I gotta go back to the racetrack again. Like I was just at another racetrack,
right?
You know?
I mean, this is not advice. This is bad advice, but this is what I did.
Okay.
You know, I was gonna get with my buddies and party. Dude, I felt like I didn't run as good, a race as good, if I didn't blow off some steam on a Tuesday or Wednesday night. And, you know, when I started racing for Hendrick, you know, I tried to clean it up a little bit. You know, they were, you know, some of the people in the building were like, you know, you're not as, you know, Jimmy's in great shape. Look at what he does. You should be doing these things. And I'm like, Jimmy's Jimmy.
Right.
But okay, you know, I'm gonna work. I'll do better. I'm gonna lose some weight. I'm gonna work out. I'm gonna do these new things to try to be in better physical shape, right, and better mental shape. And you know, I would sustain from drinking or something for a couple weeks, man, and the results didn't change for me. And then I'd go party with my buddies or something, or have friends over on a Tuesday night, and we'd damn kick ass on the race weekend. And I just was like, maybe I'm just one of the old guards, man. You know, like, you know, I need to drink and smoke some cigarettes and go kick ass, right?
Hey,
so,
Babe Ruth did it, man.
Yeah, so I don't know. But that would absolutely not be the advice I would give to any driver, any young guy. You know, I pride, you know, a Carson Quapple, a kid who's just, you know, sort of turning into that, you know, that 20, 21-year-old where they're in that vulnerable stage of, oh, man, now I can go buy a beer or, you know, and I can go out with my buddies. That's a very tricky time for somebody who's trying to break in to a NASCAR career as a driver, right? It's a very tricky time. And so, you know, you don't have to be a square. You can go have some fun. But if I hear you're at, you know, Saeed's on a Tuesday and Wednesday every freaking week, that's not the guy I'm going to think is going to make it.
No.
All right? I don't, even though I was that guy. You know, and I you know, that's another long story. We're getting in the weeds again, but I think I'm pretty clear. I did it my way. Wasn't the best way. Definitely not the optimum way to do it. William is a great example of the perfect way to be successful in this sport. Where Jimmy Johnson was that example in the past, I would say William and others are a great example of how you should approach it.
I think it's interesting, like, there's probably not one answer as to how each person goes about
Everybody's
mentally
different, yeah.
resetting. I think
I don't
it would be
regret.
interesting
You know, I don't look back and go, "Damn, I wish I wouldn't have done this. I wish I wouldn't have done all that hell raising." That's who I am. I can't. You know, I wouldn't give away. I wouldn't trade the hell raising for more success. I enjoyed the good times. I had fun with my friends. I would not give that away for anything. That to me was what I wanted, and it's what I got out of life.
The 2 a.m. boxing matches.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those were good. Those were good
character.
nights. We used to, right down the street from the boxing ring, there used to be this old haunted abandoned house. It wasn't really haunted, but we wanted it to be, right? And man, if we didn't feel like boxing, we were walking down the street to the abandoned house, walking through there with our cell phone lights turned on.
Something moved.
Man. And it was fun because you were always taking people that had never been, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you want to go
freak
see
them out.
You know, 2 a.m, everything's kind of dying down. Hey, let's go to the haunted house. Grab a cooler. Let's go. You're gonna love this.
Mm-hmm.
There's still clothes in the closet and furniture in the
eerie.
living room.
That's weird.
Yeah, there was like an old record turntable entertainment system TV combo in the living room of this place, with like, you know, there were these old medical books back in the closet. It was pretty creepy. Yeah, and old clothes. Like all this stuff was like from the 80s.
Dang.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. It was weird.
Let's go.
But then they tore
right
it
now.
up. No, the headset's gone. It's gone. They tore it down.
Yep.
NASCAR fans, FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, is here. And right now, new customers, they get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you bet your first $5. You just go to FanDuel.com/Dale to sign up, and then you can bet on everything from individual race winners to prop bets to which driver is going to take home the championship, all on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Start your engines with $200 in bonus bets, win or lose, when you place your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/Dale to get started. FanDuel, authorized gaming operator of NASCAR. 21 plus and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. We talked about the historical day for Hendrick Motorsports, and now we're going to talk about the race itself. I thought we would come in here and have a little fun and joke and say, all right, man, here's the highlights from Martinsville, have about 5 minutes of dead air, and then move right into the Xfinity race. I thought that'd be fun.
5 minutes.
5 minutes, yes.
Dang, that's a long
You'd
time.
have to sit there and hit the fast forward.
So many.
Are they going to talk?
Put a
Are they gonna talk?
double speed like Kenny.
There's your highlights. There were no highlights.
Mm-mm.
No highlights from Martinsville outside of the Hendrick Motorsports win. But listen, Door Bumper Clear probably hammered this home yesterday about short track racing. Everybody has their opinion. Drivers, are talking horsepower. Jeff Gluck had his rant. Everybody, Bob Pockris, everybody's out there in the NASCAR ecosystem giving their thoughts, right? I'm beyond burned out on complaining about this short track package, right? And I don't know what the episode numbers are, but there's plenty of opportunities to go back and listen to other shows. I literally had a note in my phone that I kept up until just, several weeks ago that was my opinion about answers of how to fix the short track package. And I recently deleted it. I'm going to see if I can find it. But I'm burned out on them, man.
Sounds like we need a party.
Yeah. I don't feel like going over all of the things I would do to the car.
I know.
I don't. And I don't disagree. It's not good. I am glad to see other people feel the way I feel. If you go back a year ago and listen, even recently, hey man, I'm worried about Wilkesboro. We finally got this track back, but the short track package is no good. We may, how can Wilkesboro succeed if we don't put a good product on that racetrack? We argued about it last week. We didn't argue about it. We talked about it last week. We left Richmond, and Jordan Bianchi and those guys are convinced, we don't need a second date there. You see that damn race? We go to Martinsville. We have a similar night, and now we've got the urgency. We got to fix this, man. That's the urgency that I've been waiting on. Where y'all been? Where's everybody been? Everybody wanted to take a date away from Richmond last week. Silliest shit I ever heard in my life. But, now we're finally urgent about getting the short track package right. Right? I'm about to get pissed off. So, it really made me angry that we walked out of Richmond and said, man, that track don't need a second date. We need to go somewhere else. No, that's not true. And then we have the race we have at Martinsville, and now everybody says, oh, my God, hit the panic button. Dude, I was hitting that freaking button a year ago. It's beyond panic time. All right? It's panic time last week when you're talking about taking a date away from a racetrack. Man. So, anyhow, what are they going to do? Take a date away from Martinsville? We're just going to not go to these tracks? We're just going to quit going to them?
Feels like the cheap way, like we're giving up on ourselves versus trying to find a way to fix. I think the problem is like we know Martinsville can be better.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Look, I will promise you that NASCAR wants nothing more than a fantastic short track experience. Package racing, they want it. They're not sitting here letting this die on purpose. That's not really what people. Nobody would do that. That is not what they're doing. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's going the other way into bonkers. All right?
Right.
Nobody's going to intentionally let this play out so that we just the short track the short track element in the NASCAR schedule just evaporates. That is not what's going to happen, and that's not what NASCAR wants. They want to fix it, but man, there's this weird, very difficult dynamic that has been created when 20 years ago or even more than that, I guess you could go back 30 years ago, right? Bill France Sr. was the final boss. He was the Rock. Bill France Sr. would walk in and say, "Here's what's happening today. Everybody get on the train. If you ain't getting on, you're getting left at the station." There was no bullshit. There was no collab. There was no RTA. There was no driver council. Drivers tried to form a PDA, but they couldn't. Bill France Sr. was like, "This is my rodeo, and this is what's going on, man." I said this in this very room years ago. I miss that. Now we all got to have some input, and we all hold each. Now we're all legally written in contracts how we have to allow everyone to come to a conclusion, right, on anything. And so to change horsepower, do whatever they want, if NASCAR could snap its finger, they might put horsepower in the cars. They might put a smaller tire or smaller brakes on the car. If they could just snap their fingers and get rid of shifting on the ovals, they might just do it. But it is going to cost money. Some of those, listen, putting horsepower in the cars, putting 80 horsepower back in them, not expensive. Yates has said that. Everybody, even a guy that builds freaking motors, says that they can put a horsepower in them. So fine, put a horsepower in them. Who cares? I don't think it matters. I don't think it's really going to change the way the racing looks if you added 100 horsepower. I just don't. Drivers, there's a lot of drivers that think that's what would happen, and if they believe it, let them have it. I don't think it's going to do – it might do something, but it might do nothing. I don't know, but if they want it, let them have it. Fine. That's fine. I'm not arguing against horsepower. I just don't know that that's the right switch to pull for me. I mean, we saw at Bristol the tire and what that tire did and how that changed that. That was a hell. Denny talked about how he couldn't run into the back of a lap car this past Sunday because he couldn't get to him.
So he just had to ride around him.
So he just had to run right behind him. Cindric, that's the frustration that the drivers feel. Didn't have that problem at Bristol. They run right in the back of each other because they could get to each other. Aero didn't matter. None of that mattered. The answer is right there in our face. We're all debating on what needs to happen. Yes. Are the brakes too good? Is the braking zone too short? Yes. Do you have to change the brakes? No. Is the tire too wide? Yeah. Is there too much rubber on the ground, giving them too much grip, making the corner speeds too fast? Absolutely. Do you have to change that? No. I don't think that's what you have to do. If it's going to cost you $1 million to build smaller wheels and to buy them, do you want to do that? Is it going to, are you going to have to, if you want to get on, get smaller brakes on the cars to make the braking zone longer to allow the drivers that passing opportunity on the entrance to the corners at Martinsville, it's going to cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not $1 million, to buy all the brake components. But we saw at Bristol what didn't really cost anybody nothing. Make a huge difference. That's what pissed me off about anybody that complained about that tire running 40 laps. You don't complain about that.
It's a good thing.
Not after what we had Sunday. Do not complain about that 40-lap tire at Bristol. Yes, 40 laps is too little. We know. But that is the answer. Now, that's a tricky thing. I don't think it's like I don't think it's just a simple thing as, okay, build that tire, Goodyear, problem solved. We already know that like tire temp or track temp and all of those things are going to play a role in how much the tire will wear. You could take that tire to Bristol once a month, and it might run 40 laps one month, 60 laps the next, and 30 laps the next month. You just never know depending on how the temperature and the dynamic track surface is going to be, right? So it's not like a real easy thing, but we know there is your answer right there. Will horsepower beat up the tire a little bit more? Just a little bit, but the tire's tough.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That tire they had this weekend, horsepower wasn't going to do.
There is no way Joey Logano should have been able to go that damn long on those tires.
Yeah, another off topic just slightly. If you looked at the racing surface and how it was rubbering in, I got a picture on my phone right here. The track did rubber in, but only where the rights ran. It was completely green where the left side tire run. We all agree with the. I think we all do agree with the conversation going on this week around the short track package. I am thankful of urgency I'm seeing from others. I'm thankful of that. I think that, I think they'll figure it out. I have to be positive.
I got to see something.
I cannot live in I can't go forward thinking, oh, we're doomed. We're f***ed.
Right.
I can't. We're gonna figure it out. It sucks. It's bad. We're in a bad spot.
Right.
Right. But man, this has got to get figured out. Has to.
Yeah.
No way they don't. And I think maybe they will swing for the fences. They made some changes. They've tested. But I think, I'm telling you, man, I'm hopeful that at some point when they do get it figured out, we're all going to look back to that Bristol race and go, man, I'm thankful that mistake happened.
It was an eye-opener.
I'm thankful that mistake happened because that right there is that's the main ingredient. If you're making the soup that's going to fix short track racing, there's the main ingredient right there is what happened that day. All right, let's bring Sammy Smith in here. All right, we got Sammy Smith in the studio. And Sammy, we got some great news to announce today. I am very excited about this. As everybody knows, we're big fans of SunDrop here. This is the home team. SunDrop, bottled and sold in North Carolina and other parts of the country, but we feel like this is our home brew. And luckily for me, I've been able to reconnect with SunDrop. My dad had a deal with them and promoted the brand for many, many years back in the 90s and maybe in the 80s a little bit. Lucky for me, I had a relationship with them in 94 racing late model stock. So we've rekindled that relationship, Sammy, and had some fun with it over the last couple of years. I actually take the SunDrop car and race a late model for the very first time in like 30 years or 20-some years at Wilkesboro a couple years back, right? That green car. Yeah. Well, due to some unique scheduling circumstances, I'm going to need your help. All right?
Yeah.
Coming up during All-Star Weekend, the Cars Tour goes back to Wilkesboro. And unfortunately, for me, as bad as I would love to be in that race, I cannot be there. I can't even be in the state. I'm going to be gone. But I need somebody to make sure that the SunDrop car is there and out on the racetrack, and that somebody is you, buddy.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate you, JRM, SunDrop, for giving me this opportunity to be able to go get back to late model stock racing. I was able to do a little bit racing kind of a couple of years ago, and then stopped to run more Xfinity races, and just obviously time consuming. So to be able to go back and do that on an off weekend is very fortunate to be able to do that for you.
And you drove this car before, so we went and tested it at Florence this year, trying to get ready for the icebreaker, and you helped us a little bit there. And so, I'm excited about that. The new pavement at Wilkesboro is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be really fast. And but there's going to be a little twist to this whole project, and I think this is really cool. I didn't come up with this. But instead of the SunDrop green, a lot of people, man, they're big fans of Cherry Lemon SunDrop, right? And so for this particular race, this car is going to be sponsored by Cherry Lemon SunDrop. Do we have a picture of the car? Can we show that? All right, so yeah, that's what the car looks like. Pretty fantastic looking race car. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it looks cool with kind of going off the regular SunDrop and doing the Cherry Lemon SunDrop. Looks very good, and excited to get out there.
So have you ever, before you came to our neck of the woods, have you ever had drank SunDrop before?
I've had SunDrop, not the Cherry Lemon SunDrop before. So
well, you got one right there in front of you.
I do.
Take a drink.
Let's try it.
Yep. Dang, listen to that. It
Fresh.
was like we timed that. It was like we meant to do that.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Cherry Lemon SunDrop. What do you think?
It's very good. Yeah, that's very good.
Yeah.
I've never had this kind before, but very, very cool looking car and very, very good tasting soda.
I know, man. I'm looking forward to it. It's a good looking race car. It's a great race weekend, a big weekend for the Cars Tour. You're going to run the truck as well?
Yeah.
That week?
Going to be able to run the truck with Pop Flying Jay on the truck as well. So fortunate, get some track time before that, and try to just go have some fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, if everything goes well and you look really, really fast, that's going to encourage me to maybe go drive the same car at the end of the year at Wilkesboro for the final race of the Cars Tour. So I hope it goes well. I think you're going to have a lot of fun. But, man, we're thankful. You've been a lot of fun to get to know this year. I've enjoyed having you as part of the family here at Junior Motorsports. It's been great seeing you trying to grind away and get those results on the racetrack in the 8-car in the Xfinity Series. And we get to do fun stuff like this where, we kind of get out of the box a little bit and do some neat things. So I'm thankful for that. So good luck, bud.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks to JRM and your whole team for giving me this opportunity. And, continue to grind away at the Xfinity season. I'm looking forward to continue to try to get in victory lane.
Right on. Sammy Smith on the Dale Jr. Download. It's going to be taking the SunDrop, the Cherry Lemon SunDrop, to victory lane at Wilkesboro this year during their All-Star Race festivities. The Cars Tour, I think, runs over there on Wednesday. A little bit of practice on Tuesday. I'll be coming. I'm out of town during the middle of the week, but I'm coming in for the weekend to see everything that's going to be going down at the newly repaved racetrack. Man, last year was a blast. They had concerts outside the racetrack. I know Andrew was there doing his what do you call that?
Man on the street.
Man on the street, yep. And so, but I had that was the most fun I've had at a racetrack. Obviously I love driving, but when you just go as a fan, I had a great time. But so should be another great weekend when the All-Star Race weekend rolls around. All right, that was a lot of fun. I've been waiting on the opportunity to show everybody that car, just a really cool looking race car, and as a big fan of SunDrop, I feel so lucky that we can do something together, and I hope that they're enjoying that relationship over the past couple of years. I think they'll like getting to know Sammy and working with him over the course of this project to race at Wilkesboro. I didn't know how to handle that in terms of, hey, I'm not going to be there. I can't be there. I wish I could. You're going to handle this for me. Let's talk about the Xfinity race a little bit. This past weekend, we had good speed. Junior Motorsports cars qualified pretty good. Raced good in the race. Gibbs cars had a little more speed at times, but, man, coming down to the end, Sam Mayer looks like he's going to pass for the lead and win the race. Coming about 6 or 5 to go. Drove right up the back bumper of Eric Almirola, and he's going to go going around him. I thought Eric would probably get a little physical with him, but felt for the most part that we had, Sam had fast enough race car to get the job done. Caution comes out, reset the field, and Sheldon Creed goes down in there like an idiot 3 wide. Golly. I mean, that's what the series is about. It's kids doing those type of things, making those decisions, right, and learning from them. We see it in the Cup Series too, and rarely does that ever work out in anybody, for anybody. Sheldon made the choice. What he learned from it, I don't know, but it hurts Sam on that final restart, and Eric Almirola goes on and wins the race. Pretty great, cool deal for Eric and his family, considering the story, right, about him, getting credited for a win years ago in Milwaukee for Gibbs that he didn't really earn, right? He started the race, qualified the car on the pole, then he gets in and races to the win. So he's kind of always, to finish the story, if you will, like Cody Rhodes. He comes back and wins him a race for Joe Gibbs. Carson Quapple, our late model driver who's been doing an amazing job for us, got an opportunity to race in his first Xfinity race. And, he did a fantastic job. Just really smart, smooth race. Didn't ruffle any feathers. Didn't cause any problems. Made no mistakes. And at times when they would get into a rhythm, he was the best car on the track. And so good job by our team here at Junior Motorsports to put a 5th car on the track that's competitive. It's hard enough putting 4 of them out there. But Andrew Overstreet and all our team did an amazing job. Andrew's an up-and-comer. And Carson benefited from that and was able to go out there and show what he can do. Hopefully we can get more races for Carson. We've had a good bam-bam back-to-back. Bubba Pollard, Carson Quapple, grassroots short-track racers getting opportunities. We've had 2 great weeks of that. We got Connor Zilic coming down the pipe soon to be able to run some races here for us, and he's having a lot of success winning this past weekend at the Cars Tour at Hickory and more. So we got a lot going on. It's stressing this office or this building to do 5 cars, but, man, after Carson's race, I told everybody here, I said, if we get these opportunities, we got to do them. If somebody calls and says, hey, we want to do more races with Pollard, we want to do more races with Carson Quapple, we got to do them. We got to do everything we can to give these people. It's changing their lives, right? What happened for Carson this past weekend and what may happen going forward is life-changing for that man. We got to take the risks here as a company because of what that could do for them. So that's about all I got to say.
He seems hungry for more. I mean, he finished
of course
P4, which is amazing on your first start. And I talked to him after the race. He's like, I wish that went green. I could have gotten top 3 finish. I'm like, dang, I would be. But that's just the way he's wired. I would be so happy with 4th, but he's already thinking about what he could have done better. And 4th is pretty good.
Yeah, I guess I got a little distracted when that caution came out on the last lap, and where I was, I couldn't really see I wasn't watching the monitor, but I was in the pits the whole race, and I really couldn't see how things netted out for Sam in turn 1 and 2. I know that they went 3 wide into turn 1, but I couldn't tell exactly how all that shook out. And the crash happens, and I didn't even know that Carson was underneath 3rd place, right? And he feels confident had they gotten a chance to race back to the green, he wins that position. He was mad. He gets out of the car. I'm like, yeah, good job, bud. He's like, almost had 3rd. Damn, damn.
Right.
I'm like, come on. 4th is awesome. Truck race.
Well, hold on. I want to ask you this, too. Sam Mayer looked dejected after that. He felt like he gave up an opportunity to win. I know you walked over and talked to him. What did you tell him?
So Sam this is typical Sam. I go up to him, and he's very very sad, and he said, "Man, I just feel like I let everybody down." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? You have the nerve to say that?" I was like, "When you run the car into the fence on the first lap, like you've done a couple of times in the last year or two, that's letting us down, bud. That is like really letting us down, not this." And I said, tonight you got what you got, right? If you can't win, bring it home. That's what he's got to learn, right? Is, all right, it's not my day. I'm going to get this third, all right? I'm not going to wreck and get 15th. I'm going to get this third, this fifth, especially when we dug a hole at the start of the year. And he goes out, he'll win a race and then go out the next week and hit the fence on lap 2. And you're like, all right, Sam, we're going to learn from this, buddy. And so I told him that. And he goes on to the media and he says, yeah, Dale told me that this was not a big letdown. I feel like I let everybody down, but Dale said it's not a letdown. He said it was a letdown when I was wrecking all those cars 5 years ago. I was like, no, I didn't say that. It was literally 6 months ago. So 1 year ago. It was inside the last 12 months that you were hitting the wall on lap 1. He's like, he's already pushed that 5 years back. I don't know how he did that. These kids.
That's how he blows off steam.
Yeah.
That's how he gets rid of the burnout.
Hey, Sam,
Just
you
make
remember
everything seem like so much further.
You remember
further
hitting
go.
the wall at Atlanta last year on the first lap? Man, that feels like 5 years ago. Okay, Sam. So, anyway, I laughed. I gave him a hard time. But he's got it. Dude, I'm sitting there, there's days when you're watching Sam and you're like, is that part of his racecraft going to ever correct? Right? Because, listen, all of us in here can't be race car drivers, right? And there's some parts of our mental makeup that are just going to be problematic and never be really curable in some applications, such as driving a race car. And so, when you get a guy like Sam that's got a lot of speed, the racecraft got to get better. All drivers have this sort of process of improving as a driver, right, and being able to put a race together. And Sam will do stuff on the racetrack, and you're like, man, I wonder if that's ever going to get corrected. And then I watch him Saturday night in Martinsville, and he looked so much better. And there were moments in that race where we had these long green flag runs, and he's running the leader down. And he gets, he's trying to pass third. He's trying to pass second. He's got a fast enough car to win this race. And he drove smart. And he drove like he had, good sense. And you're like, all right, I like that.
More of that.
All right. But he's young.
He's 20.
God, dude, I know. I'm sitting here talking like dude's 25 years old, right?
Yeah.
Then you think back, okay, yeah, he's 20. I mean, when I was 20, I wasn't doing that. I didn't have what I wasn't there. Wasn't there yet.
Dalton, did you know that Fast Growing Trees is the biggest online nursery in the U.S. with more than 10,000 different kinds of plants and over 2 million happy customers in the U.S.?
Not until now.
Yeah, I'm here to tell you. They have everything that you could possibly want, like fruit trees, palm trees, evergreens, houseplants, and so much more. Whatever you're interested in, they have it for you. Find the perfect fit for your climate and space. Fast Growing Trees makes it easy to order online. Your plants are shipped directly to your door in 1 to 2 days. And along with their 30-day Alive and Thrive guarantee, they offer free plant consultation forever.
It's nice because I'm a new homeowner, and so I don't have to worry about talking to a landscaper, have them charge me a bunch of money. I can get my trees directly from Fast Growing Trees for any yard project I want to work on.
There you go. This spring, they have the best deals online, up to half off on select plants and other deals. And listeners to our show get an additional 15% off their first purchase when using the code Dale Jr. FastGrowingTrees.com, code Dale Jr. Offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions may apply.
Hey, everybody, it's Dale Jr. back again for another episode of Ask Junior. I started that just like I started the podcast show. Yeah, I mean, it's like automatic. I don't know how else to do it.
Back in the Bojangles Studio.
Yeah, back in the Bojangles Studio for another episode. We're doing Xfinity today. Ask Junior presented to you by Xfinity. And you need to check out their Xfinity Mobile. It's the fastest mobile service with 5G and millions of Wi-Fi hotspots. We're all driving around town, and those will pop up. Hey, you want to join this Xfinity hotspot? Nationwide coverage, and it's always going to come through in a clutch. So you can make the switch today and save with Xfinity Mobile. They are a proud premier partner of NASCAR, and they do a lot of great things for us here at Dirty Mo Media. So we're very thankful. Let's get right to it. Ask Junior. I'm sure we got a lot of great questions. We've had a pretty good show. We've been it's been a balance between frustrated and having a lot of fun and laughing. So you'll have to tune in to see what all we got into today. We had a couple guests. One called in and one showed up. And, so let's get started.
This first question is coming from Mary. Did you get a chance to see the eclipse yesterday?
Yeah, I did. I went to pick Isla up from school right as it's happening. I think peak eclipse was 3:11.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And so we got home around 3:14, 3:15, and hop out of the car, put on our glasses. Girls are up there looking and staring. I remember doing this. I mean, I was joking with my buddies. They were all getting fired up about the eclipse and talking about locations and times and getting the glasses and all this stuff. And I'm like, I was excited about this in like third grade when we had it happen that year, and we all walk outside and look up, and you're like, all right, there it is. There's an eclipse. But I guess this one was more unique than most.
More coverage than years past.
Yeah. Amy's family, this was funny. She'll get pissed that I said this, but we're driving down the road, me and Amy in the car. She's like, hey, man, the eclipse, she's got family in Texas. And they're like, hey, man, she's like, hey, they just texted me and the eclipse is starting in Texas. Look up and see where the moon is. And I'm like, well, if it started in Texas, it's probably about to start here. I'm not looking up in the sky without no glasses on.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have our glasses. We're just driving down the road, and she's like, hey, look up. Is it close? I'm like,
Is
no.
it close?
I'm not. Who stares at the sun? She's like, oh, you stared at the sun before. I'm like, no. I mean, I did once, and then never again, right? You know, you learn. You do it once, and you don't do it anymore, right? I mean, that's what we learned years ago, right, when we were little kids. She's like, look and see how close is the moon. I'm like, no, not going to do that. She got mad at me. But anyhow, we looked at it. Yeah. It's funny. This happens with any kind of national media story or news story, or any kind of, you go on Twitter, X, whatever you call it. Mm-hmm. You go on there and people are posting pictures, and then there's the people that are posting the pictures, and then the people complaining about the pictures, and then the people mocking the people posting the picture. You know, it's just such a it's such a damn joke. But that was
I participated in the.
You did.
In the
Which
mocking.
part were you? Who were you? What side were you on? Were
I
you
will
sending
say,
in the funny like videos of like there was Kip Childers with
that was
Cars
hilarious.
Tour,
yeah.
right. He videoed himself with his head passing in front of the sun.
I took a video at like 7:45 last night, and I'm like, look at how dark it is.
Yeah.
Only a few hours after the eclipse.
Incredible.
Made me laugh.
Yep.
That's it.
So that's what Amy
I do
says.
think it's cool though.
Yeah, Amy does that too. I'll tell a joke, laugh, and she says, "You're one of those people." Laughs at their own jokes.
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's you.
Yeah.
I'm my best audience, I think.
Andrew typically only laughs at his own jokes.
Yeah.
None of the rest of us are.
All right.
Okay.
Didn't.
This one's coming from Mark. What is, because you've got a lot of busy days. You're always running around. Like, what does a lazy day look like for you?
Oh man, that's a great question, man. I had actually had that in the Dirty Mo Media in the notes here for our show. Doing nothing for a day is out of fashion. So I don't know how I got on that rant, but I was. So this year I'm not doing any broadcasting, and I've got a little. I feel like I will. When I heard that was going to be the case, right? I'm like, okay, well, I'll have some more time to do some things that I want to do, or nothing. And literally, man, as if I just look at my calendar and just sit here and stare at it, like little things just get added to it, like tomorrow and the next day and a week from now. And I'm telling Amy, I was like, man, there's just never a day where there's nothing to do. I remember not too long ago, I would wake up in the morning and go, I don't have nothing happening today.
Mm-hmm.
Not a thing. I'm not even going to get out of my bedroom, my pajamas.
Mm-hmm. I'm
going to wear sweatpants and play video games all day. And that is no longer happening. But when the opportunity for that day off where you can literally do nothing comes, my wife and everyone else I know goes, well, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
We can't not do something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why not? Like, don't we always talk about how we wish we had a day where we did nothing? Well, here it is. Oh, we can't not do nothing. What about the kids? What about them? Send them upstairs. Play.
Throw some air tags on them.
Whatever.
Let them
Go outside. Go outside. Have fun. It's like this. Oh, there's like this sort of feeling of obligation, right? To be responsible to something or somebody or a job or nobody's selfish anymore. Nobody's like, you know what? I've got a free day. I'm not going to put anything on the calendar. I'm not going to do nothing today. Not going to be beholding to anything. We've gotten into, and I think this happens as parents too. You get into this, you feel guilty when you take time for yourself. Dude, I can't even, like when we go away and take a day, when we take a vacation or something, I feel like an asshole. Like I feel like I'm leaving work at home and leaving responsibilities here, Dirty Mo Media or whatever it is, right? And I'm not accountable, right? It's tough to go, whether you're going to have a day off and sit at home on your couch and do nothing. It's tough to do that without feeling like you're,
Right. I get that way. Like if I have a day to do nothing, I'm always like working around the house or working on something,
That's okay, I think. I think if you're, if I'm sitting around with nothing to do and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to walk around the house and see what lights need to be replaced or whatever, because, or I'm going to get some laundry done or, I'm going to go clean the fifth wheel, which is a new thing. That's okay, like to do a project or do something for yourself to better the situation, something that needs to be done. But
want to feel accomplished at the end of the day.
Yeah, that is true.
So.
Anyhow, where the hell what was the question?
It was lazy day. What do you do?
Lazy day.
Nothing. They're out of fashion.
Find
something to do.
My lazy day, this is me. If Amy leaves and takes the girls,
right,
my mind immediately says, I'm playing video games all day.
Yep.
And what ends up happening is I'll have that I could literally start as soon as I get up in the morning and just play all day. I will procrastinate and sit on the couch and flip through the channels and look at my phone. And, dude, I don't end up getting into the video games till like 5 in the evening.
Right. And you're like, well, that's what I got now.
Yeah. I get up from, Amy goes, I'm rambling here. Amy goes to bed about 9:30 every night. Dude, I can't do it. I should go to bed, but I sit downstairs on the couch staring into the middle distance or looking at my phone or maybe watching some stupid show on TV, man, and I just sit there, and then finally around midnight I'm like, I guess I should go to bed.
Yeah. I get that way.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I could just snap my fingers and be like, all right, time to go to sleep. Yep.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Me neither.
All right, we got one more question. This one is coming from Jake, and it's referencing the teardown. And I guess Jordan Bianchi had never heard of J. Cole.
Yeah.
They wanted to know what was it like hearing your shout out in a J. Cole song. I think it was in 2014. I want to say.
You guys did a magazine cover together. Didn't
Yeah.
You? Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool, man. That was great to be able to. That magazine shoot, I think it was for ESPN. That was great because he came to my place, and we had the basketball court, and they were shooting basketball and hanging out, and he was really comfortable, and we had a conversation. He has a brother that was a race fan, and it was he ended up coming to Daytona and got to meet his brother, but and it was just nice because I felt like that I got to to talk to him out of the spotlight of celebrity and fame, right? I guess got to talk to this guy.
Just two guys
talking. Like
talking.
we're hanging out. And that's the man, when you get a chance to be around somebody with some notoriety, and in those moments it's so rare, right? Because typically we, if I'm going to I got to kind of do the same thing with Shaq when he came and we did Shaq Versus. He came to the house, right, and we did this in my space, and he got to calm down and relax, and so. But a lot of times when we meet people, it's at events. It's in the middle of, drivers' intros or whatever. I mean, they're in they're in that element of celebrity, and so you don't get to have a real conversation. So that was kind of nice, but really cool. And I'll be honest, man, the shout out thing, I opened up Twitter, and my timeline was filled with people talking about that. And I was like, oh, I need to go listen, right? And so you go and listen to the little shout out, and it's just him. He's just, he's just rambling, not really saying nothing crazy. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what he had said, And so I went and listened to it, and I was like, oh, all right. That's what everybody was making a big deal out of. And who was he saying I was in the elevator with?
It was, I think I remember he said he'd met you, and then the next person he said was Jonah Hill. Yeah. From like Superbad and Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, he said he was in the elevator.
Right.
We all were having a conversation.
Yeah.
It was Jonah Hill.
Yeah, Jonah Hill came to Pocono one year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when he was doing that movie with Channing Tatum.
21 Jump Street.
Yeah, 21 Jump Street.
Channing Tatum.
Yeah. Why do I remember that? Right? What the why is that piece of information still in there?
It's the weird things you remember.
Yeah. I think the same day that I met those two guys for that movie they were filming at Pocono, Vanilla Ice, I got to meet him. He was at the same drivers meeting.
That's
at
cool.
Pocono.
That's pretty
maybe
neat. Was he like performing?
Maybe he might have been he might have had a small piece in that movie, or maybe that was a different Pocono.
Ice-T or no Ice Cube?
Vanilla
Ice.
No. In that movie in 21 Jump Street, it was
Ice Cube.
Ice Cube.
Yeah.
Well,
Ice Cube
Vanilla
was in
Ice
that
came
movie.
to Pocono one year. It might have been the same race. It
So
might
many
not have been the
ices.
same race, but I know Vanilla Ice was there, but he was also, I think he was there because he was in a role for a movie that was being promoted around that event, and it might have been a different race, a different Pocono event. But Vanilla Ice is cool, man. We swapped numbers.
That's cool. That's got to be a cool one in your phone.
Yeah. His whole thing about, his home renovations and his show, and how he's like, he's doing amazing. He's got a car collection, and he's got this car in there that has some connections to that a little bit.
It was Pocono 2012. He was pacing the field. Pace car driver. Vanilla Ice.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Nice. Well, that's a good place to end it.
That is. All right, so that was Ask Junior. Some good questions today. Thank you, Xfinity, for everything you do. Xfinity Mobile, fastest 5G coverage, Wi-Fi spots everywhere. Wi-Fi spots raining down from the heavens, giving us this glorious coverage.
It's amazing.
It is. Xfinity, proud premier partner of NASCAR. We're thankful.
The Dale Jr. Download is sponsored by BetterHelp. Dalton, how's your social battery right now?
Could be better. Not going to lie about that. It's been a busy couple weeks.
Yeah, busy. It can be draining after some of these days.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, therapy can give you the self-awareness to build a social life so it doesn't drain that battery we've been talking about.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a lot of benefits to therapy, and one of those is that I have a place to kind of make sense of some of my thoughts so that I have more time to dedicate to recharging that social battery.
Yeah, absolutely. I've given it a try. It's been super helpful for me. I think you've tried it too.
Definitely.
So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule, especially with the busy work schedule that we've got.
That helps.
Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Find your social sweet spot with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/Dale Jr. today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Dale Jr.
Alex Timms placed a bet. Xander Schauffele outright.
Schauffele, yeah.
When was that?
When is that?
When did you place that?
Today,
What time?
during the show.
Right. Okay. Because I'm getting alerts. Dalton's making bets at 3 a.m. I'm like, no way.
Dalton's betting on some sketchy stuff.
Yeah.
That's some off the market stuff.
Dalton was betting on Jerusalem women's basketball.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he lost.
And 21-year-old what? Was
A
it
U- 21 soccer.
Under 21 soccer.
Yeah. You got a guy?
Who's going to take it all in Jerusalem women's basketball? Who's going to take it all this year? Literally. We know.
We get the notifications.
I'm throwing a buck or two here and there and see if I can make it happen.
Dalton bets the underdog in every bet.
Yeah.
That's how you make money.
No.
Hey, listen, I
You couldn't make any money on UConn last night?
I made even. That's all that matters.
All right.
We live to fight another day.
I love that, but I just find everybody's practices or habits fun to pick on.
Tennis is my weakness.
Yeah.
Like tennis.
Really? You like tennis?
For betting. Couldn't watch it if you paid me, but
Do
betting.
you know
But it's
who you're
paying
betting
you.
on?
Not a damn
Not
thing.
a damn clue. But
Not a damn clue.
Why do you feel like it's your weakness? Because it's really like more cut and dried win and lose?
It's just instant.
It's instant.
Yeah, it's like stuff just happens quickly. I don't know. And
It's
you can
quick.
parlay. Like, I feel like the favorites typically always
You
pretty
don't
much
get
win.
that in Jerusalem
Yeah.
basketball.
Not Jerusalem
It's a slow-paced
basketball.
game.
Were you were you sitting on your phone watching the Jerusalem women's basketball match
No,
play out?
they didn't. I didn't have that channel.
You couldn't find
No,
it.
I tried my best.
Did you look up on the internet and maybe find a website?
Not one that I trusted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to keep up with the score, the GameCast.
He's just watching the live
He's
stream.
just watching the app. He's watching the
Yeah,
app.
ESPN
Yeah.
didn't have it on the GameCast.
No, they didn't. No, that or the under 21. I took Brighton over Everton, and they didn't pay it out for me either.
This is like, so we used to play Streak for Cash on ESPN, and you could that was what you were betting on, like these random, you were just betting anything as fast as you could, right? That's how we played Streak for Cash. But it reminded me of that because I was like, I had like these European soccer matches on the TV downstairs one day during on a Sunday or something, and Amy's like, "Why are you watching this?" I'm like, "Streak for Cash." Yeah, I gotta win. Anyhow, all right. So Alex Timms at the table. Alex, we're going to talk about how things went this week. It says here you had 60 units.
6. I wish
Oh.
60.
It
I thought
says
you
60.
said 60.
It's 6.
Six?
60 is an outrageous.
I
Really?
heard 60.
Yeah.
What's
60.
a unit?
A unit is just what your typical bet is. So like for me, it's like $10. Like
Yeah.
to put $10 on it, that's a full unit for me.
So you made 6 units.
Yes.
So why
Around
don't you
60.
just say what you made money wise?
Because it's all just like it's just a scale for everybody to because everybody bets like $1.
So you had
$100.
6 victories.
Oh, I had 7 winners, 5 losses, so
All right.
it equals out to 6 units. Because more weighed more than others because of the odds.
That sounds like 2 units. If you won 7 and lost 5,
Well, they're all not. Like,
how do y'all do the math?
Well, so some you put more on. So I put like 2 units
Okay.
on one. That hits it. It balances out the others. So
Why are y'all making this shit so complicated?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's to make money.
Let's see. So you did not cash the winner. So your bets on the winner lost.
Yep.
But you had 4, 6 in the top 10.
Yep. Bowman, Bubba, Briscoe, and then I parlayed Bowman and Bubba together. So doubled down on that.
Damn, nice.
Yeah.
You won every match. You won every matchup bet.
Yep. Only placed 2, but I
Okay.
think I had Byron over Blaney and
That was-
Chase over Ty Gibbs. So
That's interesting. So the Byron and Blaney, what were the odds on that?
Byron was the underdog. He was
Right.
plus 125.
Yeah.
Which that was the reason why I placed it because Hendrick was going to be strong. We all said
Even
it.
after, I guess, where did the 12 qualify.
He was like top 5.
Yeah.
Which is why Byron was qualified 18th. He was the underdog.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of value on Byron.
You bet it after the qualifying?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Got to see if they're good or not.
Yeah. But the odds are better before qualifying.
If it works out for you that
Yeah.
way, yeah. If it's pre-race favorites, it wouldn't be.
You got Chevy winning the manufacturer?
That was the hammer of the week.
Really?
Bet that on Thursday during the show, Dirty Modell.
So that a Chevy would win the race.
Yep.
What was the history there?
So they were just like, so I went off this year. It's been Chevy or Toyota.
Right.
Ford hasn't won, but Ford was, right up.
Heavily favored?
They weren't heavily favored, but they were right behind Toyota. And Chevy was way down there. And I got them at plus 270, and I never saw that number again. It kept creeping down.
Yeah.
I thought it was a mistake. So I was like, yeah, this is
Really?
hammer this. And
Damn.
gave it out on Thursday.
Good job there, man. All right, so what are the predictions for Texas? I know it's early.
Texas right now, I'm targeting guys that maybe struggled in the past couple weeks at the short tracks to kind of rebound. Tyler Reddick, Ross Chastain come to mind. They're pretty good here in 1.5 miles. I think there'll be some value there. And we'll see it when the lines come out. We'll see if I'm right about that. But I think a lot of people are excited to get back to these intermediate tracks after the short track struggles.
Well, we talked about March Madness. The Masters is coming up. And so there's some I looked at the odds on some of the guys and like Justin Johnson, and I mean there's some very, very good odds if you're willing to take a flyer on some of these guys.
Yeah.
Is there a dark horse in the field?
Yeah, the interesting part is the live guys versus the PGA guys, but I'm going with the guy who's been pretty hot recently. His name's Ludwig Aberg. He's 35-1. I don't even know where he's from, what his background is, but every last couple tournaments he's been top 10, right up there fighting for the win. So
Dang.
I think that's.
Have you made that bet?
I have not made that bet yet.
Let's make it.
We could do it right now.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right. Appreciate it, Alex. Dirty Mo Doe drops every Thursday.
Friday this week.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it says here every Thursday.
Well, yeah,
That's
it was
so
the last
interesting.
minute.
Okay. What happened to Thursday?
Steve's out.
Okay.
Down.
Well, Friday, you guys have to wait for all the predictions from Steve and the guys on Texas and the Masters. I know that Steve heavy into the golf world and loves to play every day, so it'll be interesting to see his take on Dirty Mo Doe. So this Friday, usually every Thursday, but this week Friday, so you won't want to miss it. All right, it's time for the white flag. Dropped already this week, the teardown with Jeff Gluck and Jordan Bianchi. If you want to hear a couple guys, old guys screaming at the clouds, listen to the teardown. Actions detrimental with Denny Hamlin. I can say that, right? Because I am one, right?
Yeah.
All right. Actions detrimental with Denny Hamlin. A lot of great commentary there from Denny this week coming off of the Martinsville race. And then door bumper clear. All these spotters just shouting at each other and disagreeing and agreeing and disagreeing and agreeing. So much fun. All of that came out Monday. Dropping tomorrow, Speed Street with Connor Daly and Chase Holden. And then, not Thursday.
Friday.
This Friday, Dirty Mo Doe with Steve Letard, Alex Timms, and the crew. DJD Reloaded will be out this Thursday again. This past week, Carla and my sister Kelly talked to a stacked driver lineup. Mark Martin called in. I was a little disappointed. Mark did Reloaded before he did the actual Dale Jr. Download guest interview.
Yeah.
What in the world?
Well, we'll have to get him in for the full story.
Yes.
We
All
only
right.
had him for about 10 minutes.
We got Michael Waltrip as well, and Austin Cindric. Thank you for calling in, Austin. We give him a hard time, but hey, he did us a solid.
He's a good sport.
He's a good guy.
He's a good sport. I listened to him on there. He sounded great. They offered a lot of information about their first starts in NASCAR. It had to been pretty interesting, the conversation and the difference in dynamic between their careers, right? Modern and historic.
Yeah.
All right, so also this past weekend, Andrew, you were at the racetrack, man on the street. How'd it go?
It was great, and I was excited to tell you about it on pit road on Saturday. I wanted to save it for the show, so we've got a clip here for you.
All right.
I'm feeling so cool. We're the coolest second graders in the track. Are you proud to be part of the scooter gang?
Yeah, I've just happened to fall into that space. So yeah, absolutely. No, it's an efficient way to instead of creasing both shoes on a track walk, you're maybe only creasing the right foot or the left foot, depending on which one you pedal with. So yeah, it's a good way to keep some miles off of one half of one half of my pair of shoes.
Career starts, man. Congratulations. You're making another one this weekend. 154.
Yeah.
How does it feel?
It feels amazing. It feels even better to.
And you get
Be
to
on my
scoot
scooter.
on your 154th start.
Yeah, and so do you.
Yes.
It's an honor.
So is there anything, because we're going to show this to Dale, anything you want to tell him about the scooters? Maybe we can change his mind on this?
Yeah, I think I got some good. Good ideas for him. TBD.
TBD?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh.
We'll see.
Oh, okay.
Cryptic.
My goodness. Andrew, your handlebars look a little low.
Yeah, it was a kid's scooter.
Oh, they're not all kids scooters?
No,
Oh,
yeah,
I
no,
thought
I had
they
to
were
fight
all 12 and under.
I had to fight a family over it at Target. There was one left.
Oh.
They were looking at it. Mine
probably-
lights up, though. It was very exciting.
You probably grabbed that and took off running from someone in the Martinsville parking lot.
Yeah, that kid will never have a
There
worse
was an
birthday.
official who told me real quick, do not be riding this thing in the infield.
They check yours for a motor?
Yes. I
passed tech.
I passed.
Yep. All right.
Well, more of that this week.
All right. Well, that's the white flag. Let's get out of here. Tomorrow we have a guest. Well, we have two guests. Both Kyle and Richard Petty come on to the show for the Dale Jr. Download Ally guest segment tomorrow. You won't want to miss that. We'll see you.